promised, guys, we are back. My boy Genghis is here joining us. That's our big boy, the only one allowed in our house. So, segment two, guys, local transport within the US, right? And we're going to consult with the expert, and she's guided me twice, right? Twice now?
Twice.
Okay. So, here we go. Uh, Getting a dog nationally within the US boundaries, guys. This is segment two. Let's get into it. I know it's a long one, but it's very important that we cover it because I answer so many questions of you guys asking me. So I'm back with Aria of Samba Kennels slash Dogo Transport, right? So Aria,
Dogo Jet.
Dogo Jet. Okay. So can you share with us how the transport, let's start with ground transport, right? Um,
Of course.
how does dog transport work for those who are not familiar?
Okay, for the domestic segment that's within one country, it could be domestic within the US or domestic within Brazil. We have different options and different regulations, and it's usually much more relaxed than international because it doesn't require certain endorsed documents like international does, doesn't require certain age or certain immunizations. They do, but not all the time. It's much more relaxed. The best option right now for ground transport is for the domestic transport is the ground transport, which means by a usually by car or by a van with a professional taking care of the dogs. And it's also the most economical one most of the times because not only more economical, it's also the most doable one because there's no restrictions. You can transport a dog that is 200 pounds in your van, whether you can't do that by plane, right? Um, So ground transport is basically domestic. Sometimes we do the borders. For example, we have ground transport to Mexico and we have ground transport to Canada here from the US. Dogo Jet, my company, we don't have we don't have the ground transport segment, but I am associated with my partner is Animal Logistics. He is one of the best in every segment that I know. He also does cargo. He has a few flight nanny options too, but we work together with the flight nanny operations. But he has the best and a top-notch operation for domestic ground transportation within the US. And now he's operating within Canada, not within, but through to Canada and Mexico, borderline with America.
Shout
And
out to Mojib.
Mojib Alomari from Animal Logistics.
Mojib from Animal Logistics. Shouts out to you. Thank you for providing a quality service for our industry. And I look forward to using you because I will be using you in the next week.
Very soon. Mojib
Very.
has he's been in this industry for many years. Like me, he's been doing it for a long time. He has a lot of knowledge. He's been exclusively transporting for many breeders, including the biggest names in the bully world. You know, hire Mo as a transporter frequently, and now he started the segment of ground transporting. He has two beautiful brand new Sprinter vans, Mercedes, brand new. Um, Excellent management of the dogs and his employees, and the hygiene, the care for the puppies, especially because long travels require stops, require attention. So he makes sure that he stops every 4 hours. You know, he does things that no other ground transporter that I know do because they always are, they need to be ahead of time, they need to deliver, they have deadlines. And Mo is really good at that. He's very careful with the dogs. He's always sending pictures, updates, And this is the good thing about grand transporting. There's no restrictions. You basically can transport any dog from
Right.
anywhere to anywhere, uh, locally,
Yeah.
like domestically. Very good.
Well, I'm excited to meet Mo, and I will be using Mo, guys, very shortly. And I'll share my episode on how it goes for me. But he comes very highly recommended, and he is a staple name in the industry. So, shouts out to him. With that said, how about can you share with us how a flight nanny works for dog transport?
Okay, flight nanny is my industry, it's my expertise. This is what I did for so many years myself, and that gave me the expertise to actually hire people or train people that had the suit, the profile to be a flight nanny. So flight nanny work is when you hire someone. Let's say you hire DogoJet. You contact me and you say, I need a dog transported from New York to Los Angeles. And first of all, we need to understand the weight and the height and certain things like the age, um, because the airlines do have restrictions on the age, height, and weight. Okay. Um, some of us have some licenses that sometimes we can transport older dogs and bigger dogs, depending on the dog temperament, because we're also certified as trainers. Some of us, not all of us, not all the nannies are, but some of us are. I do have licenses that I can transport um, dogs that suit the profile to be transported in cabin because of my business, because of my status with airlines, and also because of my expertise. But that's not always that happens. This is why we always prefer to use ground transport when the dog is too big.
Hmm.
And also the temperament
Yeah.
counts a lot, okay?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But basically, what's the flight nannies, they are very good for puppies when they're under 20 pounds, under 22 pounds. We can transport them very easily from one state to the other with absolutely no requirements of health certificates, vaccines, or anything like that. But again, as a transporter, but also as a breeder, I do recommend that you don't transport a puppy that hasn't been at least immunized with two
Two. Yeah.
shots of vaccine, because first of all, for the breeder, it's of high risk, and we cannot be responsible if something, if they contract a virus within the transport, because there are viruses out there that are airborne. Is that how you say airborne?
Airborne. Yep.
Um,
Air and ground. Yep.
and we don't want to expose our puppies at such a young age to be transporting in public spaces under 8 weeks old. So my puppies at 8 weeks, they already have two shots of vaccine. But not all breeders do that protocol, so I highly recommend that. um, you know and some people will travel them at 6 weeks, which is crazy,
That's
because
a
the
little risky.
airlines, they
That's
do
risky.
require 8 weeks, but they don't check. So
That's super risky.
yeah, but flight nannies is a very good option. They're nice people that I know here in the US. I don't do domestic transports a lot, but I work with some of the flight nannies in the US. And sometimes I do it myself. For my VIP clients, I have a few clients that they will pay a little higher. Right. But I tell them, and I said, listen, I have a lot of dogs. It's not worth it for me to leave my house and leave my dogs to go. So my fee is a little higher. And but I don't do that very often. It's not even for the money. It's just because I don't have the time.
Well, you're worth it,
But some
and
some clients,
you guys should pay the extra for her because she's definitely worth it.
the thing is that I don't always have the time. But when I do have the time and the availability, I do transport within the US once in a while.
Hmm. And
It's great. I love transporting. It's just that I really don't have the time, and having puppies especially, it's impossible for me to leave until they are older.
yeah, no, I 100% get that, and it is a commitment. So can you give a
Can I
general?
make can I make a little um comment.
Sure.
There are two types of flight nanny work. The ones that I do is a little more expensive, but it's better for the breeder and for the buyer because it's called confirmed seating, which means why is it more expensive? Because I have to buy all the tickets, the puppy ticket,
Yep.
and the expenses for travel. If it's a long travel, a small airport, I have to stay in a hotel. I have to charge that. But I pay for the ticket, I pay for my seat, and it's confirmed that you're going to get the puppy on that day that I told you. Now, there's also the standby nannies, which is a great service too, but you don't have the guarantee that the nanny, because they fly standby, usually they're associated with some airlines and they have benefits that they can fly on standby.
Mm-hmm.
But that means that you breeder might have to go to the airport, wait until she boards, and if he or he doesn't board, you might have to come back with your puppy, and the client on the other end is frustrated because the puppy didn't board because there was no room in the plane. Of course, this is a cheaper service, but also again,
Yeah, that's
you
not
get
worth
what
it.
you pay for.
I
But it
would.
happens, and a lot of people use it. A lot of people are comfortable with it. I think it's a great service for you to save some couple $100. But I don't work like that because I know how I
Yeah.
like to work. I like to program myself. I want to know when I'm leaving. I want to know when I'm delivering, and I want to make sure that my client gets the puppy at the same time that I promised. So it's a higher fee, but it's guaranteed.
Well,
So standby and confirmed seating. Confirmed seating is mostly what I do.
and I'll piggyback off that, guys. If you are paying 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, $20,000 for a puppy, you better not fly standby for that nanny. It, come on, guys, you're killing me. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're paying ten
But
thousand dollars for
Earl,
a
you
puppy.
got to understand that sometimes it's okay if the breeder is okay and the buyer is okay with it because they live 20, 30 minutes from the airport. It's not a big deal. And sometimes they work with a nanny that they do like and trust. It is an option, but it's just important that we demonstrate the risks and the differences between one and the other. And the downfall, of course, is the price, because the price is a little bit higher for the confirmed seating.
Oh well, speaking of price, give us okay. And I did my shopping already, so I'm going to disclose my prices. Um, Ground transport, U.S. average 750. Was it? You just say that's accurate?
It depends on a few factors. The size of the dog, because it's all about service. So one crate that is a giant crate is the space of 4 small dogs, right?
Yep.
So that dog is going to, but it's not going to be 4 times more expensive than a small dog. It's going to be maybe 50% more than a small dog. And also depends on the distance, the time, the distance traveled and the time traveled. Because of course, the good thing about ground transport, I'm sorry, my English is second language giving me bugs here. The good thing about ground transport is that you can plan ahead, and they usually leave with a group of dogs, and you can get great discounts as long as there's lots of dogs, and that's the good thing, because one van can start picking up some dogs in the same area and goes across the country to the coast to coast, for example, with 20 dogs, and of course each one individually in their cages, but that's usually what a van can hold, about 20 dogs, small, medium, and large.
Mm-hmm.
And the cost is pretty reasonable compared to flying.
Ballpark.
From 500 to 1,000, depending on
Okay.
the distance and size.
And then what about a flight nanny? Ballpark.
From 650 to 1500, depending on
The ticket prices.
the ticket price. No, the standby. I think the standby is like 650, 750, 850 domestically. Okay, we're not talking international. Like I said, international we already talked about, but domestic around an average would be around 850.
Okay.
An average for us for a carry on. Um, Now, if it's confirmed seating, is a little more expensive, usually between 1,000, 1,100, depending on the time of flights. You know, if I'm going to be one day away from home, I gotta charge just one day in the tickets and the puppy ticket. Now, if I'm gonna be 2 days, that's another day of work because it takes me 12 hours to come back because the airport is so small. There's only one flight, and by the time I get there, it's already at night. I have to spend one night at the hotel. So an average of confirmed seating 950 to 1,500, anywhere from that range.
Okay. Just for reference point, right? For you guys
Yeah, just for reference.
watching this, one, I flew to Texas to pick up my two girls from Araya, Samba Kennels, Klaus's first in-house litter, and I
Yeah.
drove them back. I rented a vehicle, and I'm going to break down my cost on that. I also flew to Texas, picked up adult female, and flew back with her. So trust me, guys, I have perspective. And then the other part is I've also paid for international transport from Brazil to the US. And so my experience in dog transport is three ways. One
And
is,
now you're gonna have a ground transport done
and
by a
yeah, my
professional.
fourth one will be coming up here in the next week and a half. So when I do my episode of the 4 ways that I've gotten my dogs, or actually 5 ways because I've gotten dogs locally, I'm going to share with you dollar for dollar what I spent.
Excellent.
Obviously, I did it because I believe in the dogs and the bloodlines. However, there's a cost association of getting the right dog to you, the best way possible, the safest way possible. So I'm loving having you on this episode, and
Me too.
and I'm gonna do one where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna break down to you what it cost me and what should I have done versus, you know, if I could turn back time, what would I change, if anything,
What
right?
do, yeah, absolutely. It's all about experience, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the first one I had to meet you. You were like just a person, an amazing person that I had to meet, and you were very accommodating. You, your family, your dogs were amazing.
Thank you.
And that's why we still rock. That's why we're still friends and joining our journey into this bully world. And I am truly blessed to meet great people in this industry, such as yourself.
Thank you. And likewise, you already know.
So let me ask you: would you recommend a person to fly and pick up a puppy?
Themselves,
Yeah, themselves.
within a country, like domestically,
Yeah,
yes,
U.S.
absolutely. If yeah, and I
Let's
can
say I got a
also do
lot of points on my credit card. I'm gonna get my flights on points. I'm gonna stop over for 4 hours, pick up the puppy, maybe have lunch with you.
absolutely. Yeah, if they have the availability, because like I said, it's a great opportunity for you to meet your breeder. It is a great opportunity for meet the facility, meet the parents, But remember, it's time, and time is money. It's not very many people have the time to do it, and that's
Yeah.
why they search for our services. But definitely, if you have the opportunity to pick up your own puppy, and the puppy is within the parameters that it takes, the criterias of the airline, you should do it. Absolutely.
Okay, this next question I have for you, I already know the answer, but I want to see what you say. Um,
Oh, or you can drive too, like he did.
like a crazy person, if you like
Yeah.
driving, like my wife is like, no, we're gonna drive back. I'm like, what? She's like,
And
yeah.
I'm so happy y'all came. I'm so happy. We had a great time. It
Oh, we
was
had an
wonderful.
amazing time,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
we're just fun people. My wife and I are different personalities. Like I'm a more crazier, happy person.
You guys do compliment each other,
Oh,
though. It's
yeah,
crazy.
absolutely. My wife is like the adult, and I'm like the child.
I love Audrey. Hey, Audrey.
Babe, you gotta show your face. She's talking about you right
I
now.
don't have makeup on.
That's okay.
No,
You gotta at least say hi. Come on.
You look beautiful. Come on.
Come on.
no.
Oh my goodness. My wife
We're
is
going to
in
do an episode, just me and her.
absolutely kick me out of it. Okay, so here's a question for you that I already know the answer, but I want our viewers, I got to think about what they're thinking,
Right.
right? What is the best way a person can pick up an adult dog within the US? Would it be grant transport or pick up yourself?
It depends on their availability, on the distance, Um, ground
Dog
transport
temperament.
is the dog temperament,
Dog
absolutely.
temperament number one.
Believe me, guys, sometimes the dogs won't walk. They just get they see different environments. They see the walls with the store glasses, the what do you call it? Like the display of the stores and the shiny floors, the change of flooring from carpet to granite, and they stop. Like sometimes they're not used to it, especially dogs that came from breeders that never left their yard, and all they see is like concrete or grass,
Yeah, kennel dogs.
or epoxy, so some dogs are, and puppies won't walk on a leash. It's sometimes complicated to transport dogs. With our training opportunities of some dogs that we can transport, this is um, a main requirement that we have is the temperament, because it's impossible to transport puppies like on leashes. Some of them would just won't walk, will just go crazy, or some dogs are just they have harder temperaments, or they are too shy to walk.
Okay. Well, here, I'll give you
And
guys a
I mean,
quick.
not to walk, but just to be relaxed in an environment that's public with a lot of different smells, a lot of different noises, a lot of different scenes, and they just get like they just freeze. And that's why I like ground transport. It's either paying a professional like animal logistics or picking up yourself. And there's a lot of good people there doing ground transport. I just refer to what I know 100% that I trust. But there's a lot of good ground transporters. There's a lot of good flights, um, and cargo too. But there's not very many options for the bullies as cargo goes within the U.S. But if you have another breed, for example, a Australian Shepherd, you can transport by cargo within the US with American Airlines cargo, for example.
Mm.
It's very easy. And you can ship it yourself. You don't need a shipper for the domestic ones.
Oh,
For
nice.
international, you need a shipper and a broker. For the domestic, if you have a breed that has no restrictions, and that's one of the things that I cover in my consultation, um, you can also ship it yourself from one airport to the other.
Very nice. Just a quick recap, guys. If you are getting a puppy, you can pick it up yourself or do ground transport. If you're getting an adult, um, if like for myself, who has owned dogs all my life, I know how to work a dog and bond with a dog quickly to understand, how to get the dog to move for me. However, if you're not that person, you don't have the time, I definitely recommend hiring a professional. One, you might think it's cheaper to go there yourself. The travel cost and the stress associated with dealing with going in and out of the airport with a dog that you don't know if it's an adult dog, it's very cumbersome, guys. And I'll get more detail on that in my next episode. But to me, outside of wanting to go somewhere and meeting your breeder, which you can do before you buy your dog or after you buy your dog, I think the professional route is the most economical and safest way possible to do it, because ultimately you're making an investment. And to get the dog or adult, to get the puppy or adult dog, ultimately you're trying to get an asset from point A to point B, and with the least amount of risk possible, right? So that's how I feel about that. And I have myself experienced breed discrimination, uh, going through airports or traveling with a dog where they see, our dog looks, similar to the pit bull, an aggressive dog. Uh, some people love it and they're like, wow, that's a beautiful dog. Some people clearly walk away from you when they see the dog. So it's still a real thing, guys. Breed discrimination is still a real thing. Um, don't don't be fooled by whatever the media says. When you walk with your dog, trust me, you'll know
Mhm.
right away. And it depends on where you're taking the dog and what neighborhood you will experience breed discrimination. Don't be discouraged by that. If you love our breed, continue to love our breed. And for those who don't like our breed, well, they'll get over it. That's just all I can say. So
Yeah.
we're going to transition to picking up your dog driving. Yes, let's do it. Uh, Araya, can you give a checklist for our viewers of what people should have if they're going to drive to you and pick up their puppy?
I highly recommend driving a puppy in a crate. It's safer for you in case of a sudden stop, something like that. Just like we wear seat belts, puppies, when they're loose in the car, they're completely loose and they walk around and they can distract the driver. So for safety reasons, a dog crate, blankets or pee pads. Some puppies like to destroy pee pads, so we can always use
Oh, yeah.
blankets.
It's hilarious.
Yes, if they're not trained yet, some pee pads or some blankets, paper towel. Make sure you have paper towel, baby wipes. Make sure you have plenty of um, plastic bags. Poop bags
Yes.
for picking the solids, and also definitely take with you some kind of cleaning material, like something that
Spray.
is
Yep.
not so strong the smell, because in case you have the puppy in a crate and there's accidents, and sometimes it's on the walls of the crate there, on the sides and on the bottom, you want to spray it. You want to make sure that it's nice and clean before you put your puppy back in there again. And also, if you are not willing to take him in the crate and you want to take him with you on your feet, make sure you have these things, because there's always there could be some accidents.
Oh, there will be.
For
Will be.
very Yes, for
There will
very
be.
very young puppies, in long distance and more than one puppy, some people use shavings or pellets, which will absorb and you can quickly clean it. I like that. I use them sometimes for my puppies. It's very practical, but that's for a very long travel.
Oh, you mean like
You know,
15 hours? Like a plane?
like yours, right? Yes. Because the good thing is that the shavings absorb the urine, and also the solid gets kind of like wrapped in those shavings, so it avoids them from getting dirty. We in Where the blankets, people say, oh no, but shavings. No, shavings is super hygienic and super uh, um, easy to the maintenance there for you to clean. It's actually easier than
Yep.
cloth, because the cloth
Absolutely.
will absorb it. It will make them wet and will keep the poop there dirty for them to step on and to make a mess.
It keeps that
Whether
bacteria
the
alive. Yeah.
Yeah, whether the shavings is going to wrap it around, and it kind of keeps it clean until you notice, and then it's time for you to change it. And it's, it's just an idea. You can have like a big crate with a little bit of shavings, um, or the blankets or the pee pads. If they're good puppies, they're, if they're not too hyper and they don't destroy the pee pads are really good too. But
Yeah,
then
we
again,
did a
you have
combo.
a risk of, you got to, if you're traveling by yourself with your dog, just make sure that you're watching all the time. So if there is an accident, you can stop the car safely and quickly change it, because
Oh,
it
you'll
might
smell it.
become a mess.
You'll
It's
smell
gonna
it.
be a mess.
If you
Yes.
listen, man, I'm gonna tell you. We picked up our two girls from Kennels. We drove back. The drive straight was 13 hours. However, it took us 16
15?
because 16 because we had to stop, eat, change the bedding, feed the dogs, let them use the bathroom every 3-4 hours, and we did shavings, we did puppy pads. They're gonna poo and they're gonna pee and they have to eat. At that age, when we picked them up, you gotta feed them at least 3 times within the 24-hour period. And so, we got food from you, but we also picked up food because, again, we're traveling, right? And as you're driving, you're gonna smell it. Trust me, you're gonna smell if they,
Hey, you just talked. If I could also make a comment about something very important that you talked about, and I don't think it's in our script.
hmm,
It is very important for me to tell you guys, in any kind of dog transport, especially puppies, when they're transporting, especially internationally, or ground transporting that sometimes takes 3, 5, 7 days, they will lose weight.
yep,
And listen, that is not a reason for you to fight with the transporter, to sue the transporter for this and that. This is not neglect. There are two reasons why they lose weight. One is because we do prefer to avoid having them with a full stomach, especially in a van where they are unattended for a few hours. If they throw up, if they get car sick, sometimes there's 20 dogs there. They do stops every 4 hours. My partner does. We don't know about other people, but I know how he cares for the dogs. Now, if they're traveling internationally, sometimes the flights are 10, 12 hours. Don't forget, there's 3, 4 hours of waiting before the plane departs, and
yep,
there's another 3, 4 hours for the breeder to get to the airport, that they need to be fasting, because if they have a problem in the cargo of the airplane, there's no way that they can be attended. So I
correct.
do recommend enough food just to keep them going, just to cover the stomach tissue there so they feel comfortable. But it's okay for them to lose a few pounds during the trip. It's actually better. They travel better like that, because their organism, their system are more accelerated because they're hungry, and keeps them safer during transport, ground, ship, airplane, whatever it is. So it's okay for your puppy to arrive a little skinnier after a few days of travel. Do not panic. It's okay. You will recover in a week or two, because I see so much drama in this industry that the puppy lost a few pounds. It takes 1 week for them to recover, and it's actually safer for them. So this is a very important message that I leave for my fellow breeders and my dear customers. Sometimes they will lose a little bit of weight, not a lot. It's not, of course, there's a difference between starve the dogs and have them fit for travel. Tractor lost 15 or 16 pounds to be able to travel to here. He hasn't traveled yet, but we are keeping him on a diet. I'm the buyer, and I'm gonna see my dog super skinny, half of what he is. Am I gonna panic? No, because I know he's in good shape. He's still eating everything that he needs, a balanced diet. He just needs to lose weight, just like us. I'm overweight. I have to lose weight because I know, because overweight is not good for living. It's not good for traveling. These dogs suffer more. They have more breathing issues. So
Well, first of all, you're not overweight.
that's it.
You,
I
you're
am right now. I am, but I'm okay because
you're
I'm
very bully.
bully.
So, guys,
Substance,
Araya's not
substance.
Araya's not overweight. She's just very bully. Okay.
Yeah, I have to go on a few trips to lose some weight.
She's trying to champ out in the ring, guys. He's not overweight. Don't make fun of my friend.
No, I am. I actually gain a lot of weight living in this country, man. I tell you, I just have to go back to the gym. I'm just being freaking lazy, but
That's okay. You're comfortable.
that's
You're
okay. But
happy.
I'm happy. I'm super happy. I
Very
couldn't be happier.
good. Any notable risk of driving into picking up your own dog? I think that's the less risk, isn't it?
Um,
Drive and get your
no,
dog and drive back.
as long as you have, all everything that it takes. Some puppies and some dogs will get car sick. Sometimes they get separation anxiety. I think the most tragic situation of driving your own dog is when they throw up or when they go to the bathroom,
You're right.
like,
Well,
and
you smell it.
sometimes there's one situation that when dogs fear, when they're in the fear position, they're, the first thing that they do, their metabolism goes so
Yeah.
fast and they do release solid secretions. If they
Yep.
poo, they will poo, they will sometimes vomit, they sometimes drool a lot, so just be prepared for that.
And that they won't eat either. Like they won't eat.
No, they will not eat. And
And
exactly, this is one of the reasons that they lose weight, because their metabolism, they're going through a stress of change of environment, and their metabolism will work a lot faster, so they lose weight a lot faster,
yeah, what
much
I noticed,
faster than it's going to take for you to recover back in your house when they are settling.
one thing I noticed is that they're not food motivated. However, they will drink, which is a good thing. Like drinking because
And not all of them. Some of them don't even care. Some of them are happy anywhere they are as long as there's food.
right. Well, our Sama girls were like that. They just you give them food, they're eating, and
They're eating, yeah.
that was an easy one for us.
Yeah, my
So
babies here from Klaus, they love, like, they will eat anything. They're super, super food driven.
that's my biggest pet peeve: a picky eating dog. Oh God, that stresses me out the most.
I know.
A dog,
I have them. My males all are pick eaters.
because I can deal with a dog that's like a pig, because they're not stressed, right? But when you
Yeah,
get a picky eating dog, oh my God, it stresses me out. Like, why won't you eat?
it is.
Like, you're
That's true.
making me mad, right? So, anyhow, moving right along, picking up a dog, flying. You have a checklist for that?
Flying. The first checklist is consult me as your consultant
There you go.
to see if you're
It's
going to be
well
able to
worth it.
fly.
It's well worth
It's
it.
worth it.
Absolutely.
Um, Definitely consult somebody of an expert, because there are so many rules that have changed. Depends a lot on, unless you're 100% sure about the rules and you want to risk it. I mean, the carrier, as long as as long as the location where you're going has airline flights that will take dogs in cabin. Look, location you're going, airlines takes dogs in cabin, and don't have any restrictions as far as breeds and weight. They will have a weight limitation, but it's usually 20-25 pounds depending on the airline. Some
Well,
of them
here's
are
a
even
caveat,
lower.
right? The
Hey,
caveat
say that
is
again.
here's the
Oh,
caveat. Will the dog walk for you on leash into a crowded airport through TSA?
no, we're not even talking that kind of service is not for everybody.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
Yeah, you can only do pet in cabin with you, because let me explain something. Until 2 years ago, I think, United States of America had a law of the emotional support dog.
Yeah.
That's why everybody was able to travel with their dogs, no matter what weight or breed they were, with their dogs, as long as they were registered as emotional support with the airline. Um, in other countries, that was a courtesy. Some airlines would do, some wouldn't. But 2 years ago, that changed. So, because also of abuse, of people utilizing this benefit to transport many other things.
Yeah.
We had a lady that tried to transport a peacock as an emotional support animal,
Well,
and that went to the media. And the next month they banned emotional support dogs. Is not a it is not a mandatory benefit anymore. Now it's being banned for most airlines. They're trying to revert it, but
I think they will
unfortunately,
revert that.
I hope so. I hope
I think
so.
so.
But people were like just using it, exploiting the benefit too much. Um, and now there are service dogs that, depending on the training of the dog and the certifications of the dog, then you can take your dog, which is probably not the case for the breeders,
Yeah, that's
but
not.
for you, the owners that have a service dog, there are ways of you um, legalizing and certifying your dog within or throughout the airline systems to actually be able to transport, having them in cabin with you.
Makes sense. Um, cool. Are you done for some story time?
Absolutely.
Okay. In all your years of transporting dogs, can you share a story or two of an experience you had? Like something out of the ordinary, right? I'm not saying it has to be good or bad. Just
Hmm.
something very, notable that you'll never forget. Okay, guys, really quick story time. Uh, with Araya of Samba Kennels and Don't Go Transport. Uh, can you share with us a quick story that's out of the ordinary?
Out of the ordinary. Well, one day I went to pick up an English Mastiff in France, Paris airport,
Hari. Okay.
Paris. And he was a huge dog. I swear to God, he was like 200 pounds.
Wow.
And I went with a couple of friends that were in Paris to help me to board the dog, right? And so the dog was in the crate when he came. The lady took a long time to bring the dog to me. And we were almost, luckily, I think the airline, like the flight was delayed because we were like desperate because she wouldn't arrive. So the dog came in the crate and she was pushing the crate by herself, 200 pounds,
Oh my
that
God.
huge dog. And so we helped her. We put it on a little cart and we took it to the check-in area where the dog went with the airport people to board, right? And when I got to Spain, I had to stop in Spain. Um, I left the dog. We took the dog crate with some help of the airport crew. We boarded to my friend in Spain that was the owner of the boarding house for the dogs, the boarding place. And then he calls me an hour later when he got to his house and he said, Audia, the dog doesn't walk. And I said, maybe he's just lazy or, he's afraid. He said, no, I had to take him out of the crate. Me and my wife, we took him out and he won't stand up. The dog didn't walk. She
Wow.
delivered a dog that he was actually crippled all the way. It was a very short flight. Paris to Madrid was like an hour flight, and that's why she it took a long time, and then we had to cancel the trip and send him back to France, um, because he wasn't walking. And
Hmm.
that was kind like, it's a sad story, but things like that happen, sometimes. People deliver dogs with problems with, and how do you send a dog? And that dog was going to go to Brazil.
Hmm.
So how do you send a dog that is not walking? And he had neurological problems or something, and I don't know. She told me that she crashed she gave like a sudden brake in the car when they were driving to the airport, and the dog, like, I don't know the word for this, but he rolled,
Over, yeah.
and he probably hurt himself. But that wouldn't, I don't think that would have been a trauma enough to make him not walk. That was something previous, and I think she just wanted to get rid of the dog, and she sent us the dog like that. It was a big issue at that time with the breeder and and the owner that was buying. But that was their problem. I just had to communicate the breeder or the buyer in Brazil, and tell him everything that was going on. And but the lady, they knew already they knew it wasn't a problem with the flight, because it was a very short flight, and the lady admitted that she had a problem um, during the transport that she did from her house to the airport. But then they did some investigation in his health, and he had neurological problems. What else? Curious things, funny things. I don't know. Nothing that I can remember right now, other than this traumatic situation.
Well, on my end, picking up a dog, flying there, picking up a dog, and driving the dog back, uh, going there, picking up a dog, flying a dog back, um, dog transport from Brazil to the US. For me, if I could do it all over again, I would have paid a professional to deliver my dogs.
Hmm.
And I would much rather have spent the time going there to see you, spending time with you, um, really getting your perspective of the dog industry, dog breeding, dog sales, dog everything, because it is an industry, guys. And so for me, getting the dog from point A to point B is one thing, but it's the time you spend with people and the conversations you have that are the most meaningful. You know, there's safe
Absolutely.
ways to travel a dog. You can pay a professional; they do what they do. So for me, if I could do it all over again, I would have had our dogs all delivered, and I would have went there to see you.
With
Um,
Dogojet.
there you go with Dogo Jet. But I would have went there to see you, to spend time with you, not under the stress or duress of having to pick up a dog and catch a flight or drive back. My time with you was more valuable than picking
Thank
up.
you. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. For us too.
And so for me, guys, if you're thinking about it, if you're a new person getting started, or you're halfway through your journey, or if you're an experienced dog breeder, and you've been doing this quite some time, the time we spend with people to me is more important than the logistics of getting your dog to you. So that would be my big takeaway from it, is that I wish we would have more time to spend together, because I was already there twice. And in summary,
Yeah.
you know, picking up your dog, a pup, or paying a service is subjective and completely up to you. In my opinion, the connections, the genuine connections you make with people, quality people, is much more important than stressing about logistics to get your pup or your adult dog from point A to point B. You know, we wanted to share the realities of what occurs in dog transport here so that you can have, a better understanding, right, of what occurs and the stresses and the financial commitments that comes with transporting a dog or a puppy. Maybe you're a breeder and you have clients asking you, right? Well, consult with Aurea, or you have your purchaser consult with Aurea so that you can accomplish your goal of getting your pup or dog from point A to point B with the least amount of stress with the most secure way possible, right? Maybe you're a buyer and you want to know more about how the process works. Well, this is why I bring on certain people to the show to bring value for everybody, right? Because this is a person that's transported dogs internationally, everywhere. Name a country, she's probably been there with a dog, right? I mean, that is a gold mine for all of us. And that's why, when I have these moments to bring on quality guests that can shed perspective on what really it is and what really happens, for me, I learn from it. I want you guys to learn from it. And, just delivering the value for everyone to understand, everything that encompasses our industry. It's one thing to like a dog, another thing is how you're going to get the dog that you like, right? Either way, I hope this episode really clarifies the scenarios that you might be faced with when it comes to acquiring a dog nationally or internationally. There are options, guys, and there are people who are super experienced, like my friend Aurea, who's been there, done it, knows what to do, right? Will give you your best options, and hearing a perspective from a person like me who's been a buyer and transported dogs internationally, nationally. I've tried the ground way, I've tried the air way, I tried, and soon I'll be doing the ground way, right? And either way, it's ultimately you have a goal of to get the dog or the puppy to you, and that's what we want to share here. Those different options, right? So again, guys, I'm gonna minimize the screen so you can see. One second here. There you go. Check out Areo with Samba Kennels on Instagram. And she also has a YouTube channel, Samba Kennels on YouTube. So you're seeing that on our screen right here. This
Yes, please subscribe to my channel.
you go tap in, guys. Gentlemen's
Okay.
agreement, right? To be a gentleman or a lady.
And
Go on the
also,
page.
please check our Dogo Jet Instagram page. And I also have a Facebook with the same name. Dogo Jet is the name of my
You know what? I'm gonna
transportation
search it for
services.
our viewers. Dogo. Well, 1 second. Dogo Jet.
Yes, that is a tribute to my Dogo Argentino career because
Okay,
that's where it
there it is.
all started.
There it is. Dogo Jet, right here on Instagram, guys. Um, this is certainly a person that you want to connect with, want to consult with, right? If you have interest in a dog or a puppy that is not in your state nationally or internationally, this is the lady, right? This is why I bring people on like this to bring value to us. Thank you so much, Horea. You know,
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here. It's always a great pleasure. It's always fun. And I love sharing the experiences as much as I can with you and with your audience and hopefully my audience too,
yes, of course.
because this is all about sharing knowledge, and knowledge is power. And when you have the power, you can take better, decisions, and decision making knowledge makes you make better decisions, and this is through experience that I'm sharing all the errors and that I took to be able to help you not commit the same errors.
There you go, guys. Here, I'm pulling up on screen right now. Samba Kennels. Um, here's the YouTube channel. She's got a lot of interviews with a lot of different people. I'm just showing you. Here's Klausy. Um, I've used her. She's guided me. She's been my mentor. Guys, I trust her. I purchased dogs from her. She's helped me bring dogs from Texas to Illinois, from Brazil to the US. This is a real testimony of a person that has used Araya.
Thank you, Earl.
Comma
Appreciate it.
Kennel, Dogo Jet. So I can't speak on anyone else out there because I haven't used them. But I tell you what, all my dogs are here and they're all safe and they're all beautiful. So from a person that has invested, has trusted people to take care of them, she has taken care of me, guys. So that is my testimony. That is my word. And none of that is fabricated. In fact, she's paid me $0 to say that. In fact, I paid her. So, hey, I got my dogs. I got what I wanted here in the US, in my yard, on my kennel. Of course.
And you're getting more dogs from me, so
Absolutely.
relax.
I want all your dogs.
This is
I want
just the
everything.
beginning.
A crazy person, right? There she is. The
Yes,
beautiful
of
Rhea,
course.
right? Just go on YouTube, guys. Look her up. Go on Facebook,
But
Instagram.
the feeling is mutual because this guy is great. His wife is amazing. They are a great family. I love and I enjoy my time with them. And this is the kind of people that, I couldn't be happier. This is one of the greatest gifts that I had last year, meeting this family, the Sumo family, and being able to share with them a little bit of my experience, a little bit of my dogs, and now sharing through them a little bit of my experience with y'all. I'm super happy, and I can't not thank you enough, Earl.
Well, one, you got to promise me or come back on the show
Oh,
because
we are. We're gonna have a series of
we
interviews
got
here.
this Samba and Sumo series has to happen, and there's so much things I want to pick your mind about that I think all our viewers will benefit from. And
Absolutely.
you know,
I'll be happy to be back.
awesome. So, thank you guys for watching this. You know what? I'm going to drop this as a three-parter because there's a lot to digest in this episode. Um, you know, we want to continue, to grow and to give back to the community for you guys to have a better understanding and not be scared to take chances, not be scared to have your vision, right? And don't let regulations and things like that limit you of things that you don't know. This is why you, when you guys subscribe to me and like my stuff, I promise you to bring you smarter people than myself. That's the goal. And we have here a person that has, I mean, how do you
Uh,
acquire 20 years of experience? You don't. That just comes in time. And so guys,
yeah, that's true.
if you haven't already done so, you are not a gentleman. Tap like, subscribe. You know what? Go to Insta, Samba Kennels. Go to YouTube, Samba Kennels, guys. Gentlemen's agreement. We're giving you information here that you would have to pay for anywhere else.
That is true.
We're giving it to you for free. Why? Because you know what? We are 100% committed to this industry to provide quality, to provide the truth, to provide enlightenment, and to disclose those areas that are, in the dark space, right?
Mhm.
And to really show what it is, guys. That's what it's about. How many years do I have experience as a breeder in the bully world? Zero, right? Where can I make my contribution, right? Is to help, to bring people on, to write business plans for you guys, nutrition, right? I'm going to share with you where I can share with you. And then I'm going to bring on people like Araya who can really bring something else that I can't help you with, right? Because there's no faking me. I got to tell you the truth. And if I don't know, I'll bring on somebody who does know. And this is the lady that knows. So,
Oh no, come on.
Araya, yes. So, Araya, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to having you on our channel about different topics. This is one topic that we just totally went crazy about, but it's a very important one, right?
Absolutely. We're going to be sharing a lot of experiences and a lot of stories and a lot of knowledge in this channel, Sumo Bully Kennels, and Samba Kennels. And
Yes.
I hope to see you again. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And till next time.
Obrigado.
De nada.